You are now tuned in to the ChopSHop podcast with ChopMaster J.
Oh yeah, yeah. ChopMaster J, the Chop Shop. Chop Shop, Chop Shop, Chop Shop. ChopMaster J. Oh yeah, Judy Klein, Judy Klein. So too, son of the underground. Here we go,
You all tuned in to the ChopSHop podcast with ChopMaster J.
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me in times of bad. When the day comes and you are down, and I'm in trouble, and I'm about to drown, just hold on.
Oh yeah. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop with yours truly, ChopMaster J. My girl Judy Klein,
LA all day.
and my main man So too.
Yo.
And you know, we're here, MLK, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King days every day. Shit. And it's something that always struck me, Judy Klein, of that era of when that young man, because Martin Luther King was killed, at 39 years old?
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah,
was
you know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a young brother taking on some serious stuff. And, there was some things that was so cool back then, like definitely the music part. But, his message and where his message started and where it ended. And it felt to me that when it seemed like it was purely about race, and things of that nature, it was almost like the power structure, they didn't like that either. A rebel rouser, or this, that, and the other. But when it was about race, that was something that seemed to be almost tolerated because they seemed like they could manage that. But, the establishment. But when it became, and when certain things started becoming more evident, like the economics of what Dr. Martin Luther King and the SCLC and the different organizations, how effective they could actually be, it was a situation where now that is a problem. And that seemed to be when they ultimately silenced the great Dr. Martin Luther King, was, when it was about Rosa Parks not being able to get a seat on the bus because of her color, which was always ridiculous because she was a term I don't necessarily care for, but she was so fair skinned. She was a light. You'd have to really know she was a black woman. I don't know. But the bottom line is the Montgomery boycott, the most effective thing that really came out of that was not only the seating arrangement on the bus, but the idea of us as a people not utilizing that bus line, not riding that bus company's buses anymore, and how that basically put them out of business in a year when we stopped riding the bus. And so the message that seemed to be blurred was, when we don't spend our money in places, they don't get to survive. They don't thrive. And and it's like I said, as long as they kept it about somebody not getting a seat or being treated differently because of their skin color, they allowed that. And the message really did kind of seemingly go, where people got lost in the mix. Judy Klein, I remember they showed and they spoke about Medgar Evers and the things that he fought against for racial justice and things of that nature. And it wasn't until he literally one night on TV made a speech and said, do not shop at Mr. Johnson's store. I don't know if it was Mr. Johnson, but do not shop at, this store because it's unfair to us and we need to see, whatever. Don't shop here. Literally, they killed him that night. And because he had just messed with these people's monies and things, obviously. And it's just, for me, where Dr. Martin Luther King later went with his message, because towards the end, his last couple of speeches, from what I've seen, were based around economics. Also, how he had started speaking against the Vietnam War, which, like you discussed, Judy, the military-industrial complex. Those people weren't trying to have a person, not anyone, speak against it, let alone a Negro.
It's one of the invisible branches of government. Come on now.
Exactly. And so, Dr. Martin Luther King, instead of them always still the message is always, about little black kids playing with little white kids and this, that, and no, in addition to that, it was about the economics and the money and the things and the money distribution in this country. And that is what I feel that message is what needs to be picked up on and promoted more heavily, as it were, instead of still just making it just the race thing. The race thing, we know. We know that. We know all about that. But the money and the economics of what it was about for us as a people, and the way that we are, from what's been said and what's been documented, how we're the number one consumers in this country.
Mm-hmm.
We spend and buy more than everyone else. We spend all our money up. Things like that, and then all the industry, all the creations and patents and ideas and inventions and stuff, where we have none of the industry that comes from it. If anybody should make some money off some fried chicken, it should be some black folks. If anybody should make some money off of a broom or any kind of service stuff, it would be some black folks. We know who was doing the cleaning and the cooking and the agriculture and all the different stuff in this country that created certain industries. And we have never been able to do any of it but fuel it with our own money, spending and buying it. A lot of times, to me, Judy Klein, it feels like one of the main things that came out of the civil rights movement was our ability to shop where they shop. Like, this is what you guys get out of this. No separate but equal rights. No, none of that. But you can shop here at Macy's,
right?
When you get your check.
Your money. We'll let you give us your money.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Right. Right. Like Reverend Ike.
We'll follow you around Macy's, but you can still come in here and give us your money.
Exactly.
We're going to treat you in different, like garbage in our restaurants, but we still want your money.
It's funny too, when you go online, like on YouTube, you can see these tutorials that merchandisers, stores would make for their employees about how to cater to the Negro consumer, and the different ways that they told you how to treat them when they come in their stores to spend their money. Because as black people come in, they're dignified, they worked hard for this stuff, and they're not trying to be treated like what they've been treated like before they were allowed to come in these stores. So they had to give these sensitivity tutorials and things, and they had to teach their employees how to sell and get the money of the African American consumer. And and it's really, really, really kind of trippy and frustrating and irritating to watch that, when it's such a shame. I wish that we would have come out of that owning our own Macy's.
We tried that before. Remember with the whole Greenwood thing, and they burned that down. There's
right.
been history of that. We've always had problems being able to build our own because there's always somebody who wants to destroy it for us and make sure that we don't have the economic independence that we are capable of having.
Right, and with our scholars and our different people that could show us how to be this power, we really could have been a country within a country. We really could have been, and it don't have to be nothing. It don't have to be a bad thing. It's like every time that black folks will talk about doing something like that. Well, why do you guys want all this separate? I'm like, man, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask that question. Ain't nobody, no one's mad at Chinatown. When you get to every city in the country, they got a Chinatown. No one's mad at Japantown.
That's
No
true.
one's mad at Little Russia. No one's mad at Little Italy. No one's mad at these other folks having their parts of town and things. And when you go there, you're going to get the good Chinese food in Chinatown.
Mhm.
You know the different kind of goods you can purchase, and in certain places and stuff like that. But where is our part? Where are we in
Well, every
these
time
different
we have
places?
something, they got to come in and take it and move in on it. They have to gentrify it.
Yeah, and it's like a secret, or it's like a dirty secret that they don't want no one to know. And and like now, like taking things out of the history books, not wanting you to know certain stuff. I mean, the idea of it all too is, people go, well, what difference does it make? Well, because if I'm taught all these great things about your people and your accomplishments, which we're finding out now,
Well,
weren't
all that y'all stole, but okay.
right. But if I'm sat and I'm taught to learn, I'm going to respect you. I'm going to respect your people. I'm going to, when you tell me something, chances are I'm going to listen. Because I feel like you're the authority because you created this, or whatever it is, and to know that those are untruths, those and to know, I mean, we were taught so much about George Washington, and I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree,
And his
or
wife making cherry pies when the slaves were making them. Yeah, all that.
all of that, yeah, and I know damn well they didn't sew that flag, and we damn sure know that the idea of all the different stuff that's occurred, how it's just horrible that we can't seem to get any industry from it. We can't seem to
But
be able to.
but Jimmy, we have Black American music, right? That art form that we created, that people said, "Oh no, that's folk, that's blues, that's country, that's ours." And it's like, how is that yours? Taught us
Because,
things until our African ancestors got here and made them and brought them.
well, the idea of it all, what ends up being ultimately really sad is for us, there are
And we're
times.
them.
Right. Exactly. For us, there are still those times that you got to understand that a lot of these people saying this stuff are people who were lied to themselves. They were lied to, and they're going on the lie, just like they want to raise their kids now without knowing about certain history, without knowing certain things. We don't know. Like, I didn't know a black person invented the cell phone. I didn't know a black person invented the game consoles that sell like they do. I didn't
A
know
refrigerator or
the air conditioner, the the
GPS.
all of the stuff. I mean, to go through the patents of African Americans and stuff like that, because back in the day, they said the patent office was the one place that you could literally file paperwork. You can have paperwork filed there, and it doesn't have to have a face. And so people couldn't discriminate against you filing these patents. Uh, uh, um,
Oh, but they did.
well, they definitely did when it came to creating an industry from it. Yeah. You invented the air conditioner, but we're actually manufacturing and selling them. Uh, um, and when they speak to um, stuff like things like basically giving us our monies, reparations, and people try to go, well, how is that going to happen? I don't owe you any money. I wasn't born. I this, that, and the other. The idea of it all is, I got it. How about we go and find the patents that were created, and then the different industries that have made trillions and billions of dollars for years, and go and basically tap those industries and make us either shareholders with those industries and things of that nature, to carve out a certain thing, because maybe the U.S. government is supposed to break us off, but maybe the industries that the U.S. government has allowed to operate and create and pay taxes and do stuff should be some of the things. And we talked about insurance and insurance companies and things of that nature, not really realizing how much insurance companies built their thing on the slave trade, the African slave trade, and how they profited and really built their wealth on
Mhm.
ensuring first of all, leasing out the ships that would go and travel to Africa, um, and then ensuring the Africans that were being carted over here as property. And so if they lived or died, the insurance company made out. And it's so hard for me these days to watch insurance company commercials with African Americans selling insurance like that, and not understanding how these people even built their industries and companies off of our backs. And now, it's the cute little State Farm commercials, and even the brother back in the day, are you in good hands, and all that with Allstate and things of that nature. And it's just the irony of it. And without us really knowing, it's kind of hard to want to support and be a part of all that stuff. You really just feel like they're throwing it in your face, and they are, but. And don't get me wrong, I know that the 60s and the 50s and the 60s, that Martin Luther King was doing his work. And yes, there were great soundtracks to accompany that time period, that era. The music was incredible, whether it was Motown or whether it was Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, the songs that they made. And I really have to give it up to Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, because it felt like they were making that pop music with messages like that, the socio-political messages like that. They seemed like they were doing it first. The Max Roach record and his approach with Abby Lincoln, and utilizing her and the things and the statements that they made through jazz when he went on his thing to do it. Because I remember just watching recently, asking, well, why do you think that Max Roach's name isn't really mentioned the same way like Miles Davis? Because Max took a different road and decided to go and make statements with his jazz, and by bringing in Abby Lincoln to sing some of these wonderful lyrics and things over the instrumentation, was powerful. And they're actually having a Max Roach celebration now. I think it would have been his 100th birthday or something. But
Wow.
but they're having these Max Roach thing, because it's starting to be, or I won't say starting, but they have basically created an awareness of wanting you to know he wasn't just a jazz drummer, with Miles Davis and Charlie Parker and all them, and the heroin and all the salacious stuff they talked about jazz. When they cleaned up their acts and saw the power that they possessed with the music. That way, Max went into an activist role with jazz, and you know, that's really incredible. Sure, we all know and love, Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," that was made after Martin Luther King was killed, and after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all that stuff, and even the great Sam Cooke with "The Change Is Gonna Come," and even while he was known for all those great pop songs and stuff, but when that song, one of his greatest, most effective songs, wasn't released till after he had passed on. You know, so the music of it all was always incredible. The Stax music, right? The David Porter and Isaac Hayes Soul Man and Hold On I'm Coming with Sam and Dave. And all the great music that was created back then. And so we've always had great music to accompany our missions and our movements and stuff like that. But you know, the idea of what I really was interested in was Malcolm X's and Martin Luther King's. Malcolm had been talking that independence from the establishment. It's just that he was talking about it through the Nation of Islam, and a lot of people weren't as willing to want to follow that. But the idea of economics, situation was, really, really, really important. I mean, the Max Roach Freedom Suite, Freedom Now Suite, right? That he collaborated with Oscar Brown Jr. and stuff. And in 1960, he kind of predated a lot of the songs and music that we knew through pop music. What he did was incredible and incredibly powerful. And, because, like I said, those particular jazz artists, Max and them were really popular, and people were looking for, him to continue to make jazz and to grow with the jazz and be progressive in doing that. But he used his idea of being progressive was putting statements and getting involved with stuff politically, and that is really powerful. And while there has never been anyone who's taken a solo on a hi-hat and hi-hat stand like him to this day, he definitely had stuff that was effective and that is history making. And we need to rediscover some of the other people who contributed to the cause that we didn't know. And we need to also discover and rediscover the other messages that some of our great leaders, like Martin Luther King, was talking, that some of those messages were kind of suppressed over the other message, which was really, this, like I said, the one that dealt with racism, but the one that dealt with economics. That MLK message has not been as promoted. And I think it's important now for us to understand it and stuff. And so I don't know what we're going to have to do as a people and things of that nature to try to get a grip on our economic power and things of that nature. I mean, generating $2 trillion or something in the and spending that kind of money, over $1 trillion in the economy and stuff like that, and not having any representation is crazy. And it makes it look like these people came and died for nothing.
I agree.
I so much would love to be able to pick back up on, the good stuff. The music, like I said, was incredible during that time. And
So it had to be because
right, to deal with the conditions. You're absolutely right. To give us some relief.
And when you talk about, again, economic empowerment, the fact that we were always underpaid, never paid, you know, the economic losses through our art, which is what we are predominantly known for still to this day, right? When you think about African Americans, what's our greatest, biggest import? Music, right? We influence everything. So the question is, how do we recapture some of that economic prosperity that we passed on inadvertently or have been raped of from these labels and these companies who are, taking everything and putting stuff out and going, I don't know who the artist is on that, but we're going to keep all the money and the royalties and we'll keep all the payments and forget about their families because there's a lot of music out there floating around like that. They don't even know who did it, nor do they even care. But they've got it and it's signed to their label and they're pushing it out. And you're like,
E-
wow.
exactly. You know, and there are some people who care, the collectors, the people who are in the know of what this art really, really is. We've been the one, like you said, that have been purchasing marketing over the art. And the idea of it is it's disheartening. It's an empty feeling. You know, and the level of disrespect that's been promoted towards us as a people, where now people coming from other countries come out and feel as though you don't have to show us certain respect. We are here as people for you to sell your products to, we are the consumers here. It's been established that we're the consumers here, and that's pretty much what it is. And so people come from other parts of the world and they cater to us in that regard. Uh, um, and the relationships amongst us are awful. It's really, for years and years and years, it was known that like places like New York, where the black folk were the tenant and the white folk were the landlord, and the landlord tenant relationship is always contentious, and there's going to always be a problem, and we need to figure out some ways to be effective and change the game. And I don't know where that is and how it's going to happen, but I would like to be a part of it when it does. You know, where is Marcus Garvey when we need him? We need either to feed upon the inspiration of what they, to remain inspired by their energies and efforts, because Marcus Garvey kind of had it right in a large part, and and Malcolm, he had a lot of good points, and Martin Luther King had a lot of great points about certain stuff, and then there were others who definitely had contributed as well, that
Like
those messages.
Langston Hughes had a lot of great points. It's just, again, the challenge is what do we do that we can, I guess, take control of our destiny, our music, our economic win. And it without sounding like one of those people on the other side of the fence is like, oh, y'all are just lazy, you're not doing enough. Well, everything we try to do, you stop us from. You systematically put blockades up so that we can't overcome these obstacles. And then you blame us for not being able to overcome them.
Yeah. It's trickery. It's double talk. It's
BS.
what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Like Malcolm said, you bamboozle, hoodwink, run amok.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that I think the first part of it is learning to take and gain control of our economic power. I think that's where it is. And for us, people who always want to go, we're not a one-dimensional race. We're this, that, and the other. Well, maybe it's time to become a little one-dimensional for a minute, just for us to gather ourselves.
Right, because
And
everyone else is.
right, and
All
then
the
at the
other
end,
races are.
exactly. I mean, even when they don't care for each other, certain stuff is like,
Right.
I don't like them, I don't like that, but I think he's the best man or woman
I'll
for
give
the
you an
job.
example. Hollywood, and I can say that because my last name is Klein.
Mm. And
Don't always have to get along, but you do get together to make things happen.
exactly. And I think it's really, really important until we're able to do that. I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything else. And maybe situations that appear to be on the horizon might force us or put us in a situation where we have to engage, we have to rely upon each other. We should have already known that, and we should already have understood that if we understood anything of our history and all that. But moving forward, it may be a situation with us, being treated from what they say, second class citizens and things of that nature. And once again, just learning that just the Montgomery boycott, the bus company went out of business after we stopped spending our money with the bus company.
Right.
And that's,
Walmart rolled back its DEI. Are any of us going to stop shopping at Walmart?
you know,
McDonald's rolled back their DEI. Or is anybody going to stop eating Mickey D's?
you know, and it's so important for us to try to get to that. So I don't know. I miss the vocal leaders. I miss the ones that were out front doing things. I mean, we can speak on things in platforms like this and do that, and all we're trying to do is find some peace and trying to find some ability to unite with our people and be progressive amongst each other and continue to inspire each other through some kind of unity, not a bunch of idol worship or a bunch of individuality of watching stuff. To be independent is to be independent of the establishment, not of each other. And we need to come together.
I agree. Well, I will say I do have much admiration and respect for Costco because they were the only company to come out and say, you know what? We believe diversity, equity, inclusion is important and it's a good business decision for us to keep it. So no thanks to your rolling back crap. I was like, thank you, Costco. So I will be forever going in there eating those $1.50 hot dogs and buying
Yikes.
800 rolls of toilet paper when I really only need 4, only because, they're looking out and they're thinking about us and they're thinking about the greater economics of all money is green. And it's really sad that the powers that be are allowing these companies to believe that it's better to just be racist. They're still going to come to you anyway.
Right. Right. Screw you. Right. Screw right. Yeah. No. Where they said we have no representation,
Hmm.
taxation with no representation, and we're spending all the money. We're
Well,
spending
not
all the
anymore. I'm not
money.
going to go into Costco. I'm only going to shop one time a year because Costco sells big packages of everything, and I won't need anybody else ever again. I'm going there one time and buy 8 pounds of salt. I'll never need to buy it again.
Yeah, I think I still have that $9 family's restaurant jar of mustard. Like
Yes, see, there
I
you
don't.
go. You will
I'm like,
never
what the
need
hell would I need this much mustard for?
because they support DEI. We need that much mustard. And all things relative. The price is about the same. You spend what, $6 for mustard that'll last you 10 years? You're gonna buy about 10 jars of mustard anyway.
Right, right, no doubt. But you know, yeah, I don't know. The diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that we very much need to mess with companies and people. Well, and let me tell you
Right.
something. Those are the smart people because once again, they know who's spending the money. And because of it, God bless them for understanding who's actually buttering their bread.
And all these, I mean, it is amazing and egregious the companies that are like, we're not doing it, we're rolling it back under political pressure from a bunch of whiny snowflakes that don't want anybody else to have anything. And it's just shameful. But you know what? We're gonna sit up here and play with this racism so much that our company's being destroyed.
Yeah, yeah, and it's it's so much stuff that you have to do now as a people, as a human, moving forward, and then as an African American human, you're gonna have to remain really curious. You're gonna have to understand how important it is to find some inspiration from the people that came before us. I mean, these Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Langston Hughes, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther
Billie
King
Holiday,
stories.
Strange Fruit.
These stories and these people didn't come and give their lives for us to just, not adhere to the message and the calling of them from years back. And I know that there's a much longer list of other folks, but those are the people that their names are like promoted and people can wrap around them. But, the Fannie Lou Hamers and all the others and the different people that, were very instrumental in trying to make change for us. And even some in the entertainment world that thought that they were going to make a change by giving false promises by Hollywood, whether it was, Lincoln Perry, Stephen Fetchit, or Eddie Rochester, or not Rochester, and then also the Bojangles, William Bojangles Robinson and Hattie McDaniel, and those people in the theater arts world that were promised that them leaving black vaudeville would basically and give promising them roles in Hollywood films that they wouldn't play just butlers and maids. And then once they left black vaudeville and that industry collapsed, and then they were straight just maids and butlers and buffoons, and stuff like that in these movies. And I mean, when we talk, like you said, we talked about Hollywood and the idea of, you know, Birth of a Nation, which really launched the film industry by mocking black folks and doing and creating a fear amongst others that black folks were if we ran the government or this that and the other, like like what they were trying to say about us is what these fools coming into office actually will be doing.
Right.
But to know that Hollywood built its industry off of Birth of a Nation, off of Al Jolson pretending to be the
Stereotypes and
the black guy and dancing and
misogyny
singing.
and everything else.
I mean the whole thing is horrible.
But it
So
was also reflective of the times, right? And
yeah,
there
but
was a point, but there was a point when Hollywood was like, screw the times, we're still going to go ahead and do something different. And now, you look at the TV shows and it's like, wow, is everything Yellowstone right now?
yeah, Yellowstone, and then the 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren and going the origins of Yellowstone.
I'm like,
Yes, it
didn't we
is.
go through this cycle with Bonanza and all the other shows that
Yeah,
you
Big
on the
Valley,
last
Bonanza,
podcast?
all
Right.
that. Right.
Everything was country cowboy, you know.
The good old days.
Yeah, exactly.
The good old days. Where
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 we
we're
didn't exist. No one existed except for them and their
exactly,
Western
and,
slaves.
and that hepatitis on those blankets that they were throwing to the Native Americans, and the whiskey that they were importing, and
Smallpox.
smallpox
Right. All that.
and all that, and the whole idea of how whiskey helped build the railroad system is being the first taxable item in America. America being born on whiskey and
Wait, are there any Native Americans in those shows? Because I don't watch that crap, but just
yeah,
out of
and
curiosity.
they are, and it was one of the more famous Academy Award things was when Marlon Brando sent a Native American woman to receive his award and to chastise Hollywood for the characters and the stereotypes of Native Americans played in westerns and films and things of that
Oh, I'm talking
nature.
about today, like the stuff that all these. Let's go back to when nobody existed. Movies and TV shows. Are there any in that? Any? I don't watch it. I wouldn't know.
I gotta admit I haven't watched an episode of Yellowstone
Good.
or 1923, but but the idea of
Much the same way I'd never watched an episode of Friends.
right, exactly.
Me either.
You know, I think though there was an episode, there was a film or something that came out. Who was that with? They just won a Golden Globe
No,
about the
I'm talking
Native
about like
American.
these regular CBS television network shows. Yeah, there's been spots in Hollywood where they've
No, no,
done a movie
no.
where,
I'm
it's a big deal when somebody got an award. But I'm saying in this regular series stuff that people are tuning into every week for 13, 15, 20 weeks, and they're watching what America looked like in some era, which mysteriously no one of color lived in. Is there anybody of color in those series that
right.
isn't,
No,
the blacksmith, that isn't, the Pocahontas?
right. I don't believe so. I think that for the most part,
We'll
I
have to
mean,
check that out.
well, they say that history is written by the winners, and so
Not
for
ours. Most of our history is written by losers because it's all wrong and lies. But
well, no doubt, no doubt, no touche. And the idea is that's definitely what's happening, and so you know, um, it's just the reinvention of crap, and the reinvention of crap can happen every generation or so, and it's just
retelling that narrative.
yeah, because you
Yeah,
know why it works. It's been working, or they feel like
well, it works for
it
them.
works for their agenda.
Yeah, yeah, there you
But
go.
it doesn't work for us as a nation and for people and for our souls to feel good about stuff. And you know um it's really different. um the idea is okay, so MLK, Black History Month coming up on us, MLK Day. um there's so much to learn and to remain inspired about of the different acts of heroism and the different things that we try to accomplish and we work to accomplish as a race in this country, as people, as humans, and we still have so much to do. And it's almost like we keep having to start over, and
Yes,
all
and
that. But
cycle. You're
yeah,
right.
and that's getting tiring, and it's tiring, tiresome, and you know we're going to keep making the music to speak to it. We're going to keep basically speaking to the situation because it ain't over till it's over, and we have to try to make a way, and we have to, like I said, remain inspired by some great things, and we need to speak to it so people know what happened, and we can't let what's being attempted and what's being done now. We can't let it go without speaking to it and continuing and putting up a good fight. But we have to fight 21st century style ourselves, and we're gonna have to figure something out, Judy Klein. We're gonna have to figure it out. Judy Klein, Judy Klein.
Hey man, we'll figure something out. We're smart. We're clever.
Absolutely. So, once again, here on the Chop Shop and dealing with MLK Day and Black History, and, and looking and understanding that we're still making history and the history is still to be made. And it's time for us to step up and come together and unite. 2025, staying alive, trying to thrive. It's important that we come together. So for everyone out there, it's time to love ourselves and to come together. And we really wish and hope that for a brighter day. And for the Chop Shop, you got your man ChopMaster Jay. You got Judy Klein, and my main man, So Too.
Yeah.
And, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Once again, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And thank you, James Brown. And we shall remain inspired by all of the great music and songs and try to elevate moving forward.
Amen.
Happy Black History Month.
Oh,
Hey, a change is gonna come.
right. Black History Month, American history. Don't get it twisted.
Happy Black History Year.
Every day is your Black history. Every day is your history. You'd have no history if it wasn't for Black history. Embrace it, love it, and
Black
You have no
History is
music if it
American.
wasn't for black people. How about
Yeah.
that?
So Black History is American history.
we're gonna have to fire up a, kiss a Negro day. Anyway, look, hug a Negro, and and we're gonna be out on this episode. Peace up, love yourselves, love us, love one another.